What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Startup Storybook podcast. I'm Daniel Pierce, here with my friends Turner Ray and Wes Orr. And for today's episode, we have Courtney String on the podcast, and her business is called Love My Scalp. She makes hair products for a lot of different people, and we have a great conversation with her today. And enjoy the episode.
So my name is Courtney String. Hey guys, I'm from Houston, Texas. And I actually went to college to be a theater major. And so I graduated with my BFA, but I always had a passion for entrepreneurship. Like I was always doing something. So I'm a really big girly girl. I love to have my hair done. I love to have my nails done, but those things got pretty expensive. So as early as like middle school, I learned how to do acrylic nails and I learned how to do my hair and different styles that I like. And then it became a business. And so I started doing other people's nails and I started doing other people's hair. And I even went on to be like a snack lady in high school. I would bring like little Gatorades and chips and stuff, and I would sell it for $1. So I always had like the mentality of, I want to work for myself, make my own money. And once I got to college, I kind of was like, doing those things, you kind of get tired of being on your feet all day and standing for hours or sitting for hours doing other people's hair or nails and stuff like that. So I wanted to switch to something that was more product based. And so that's how I made Love My Scalp.
Very cool. And so just for everyone to know, you graduated from ACU this last year. So no longer a college student, but it was just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. It hasn't hit me yet. It still feels really fresh, and I still have one more summer class to take. To me, it's like, it's not reality.
There you go. Well, what summer class are you taking?
That's such a great question. I think it's like arts and culture or something like that. It's a professor I've had before, and she teaches only online classes, but man, like she does not play around. So taking her during the summertime is going to be pretty scary because I know that workload is going to be a lot. But it's my last class, so I have to appreciate it while I can.
Sure. Yeah, online classes are either like super easy and you don't do anything, or they're hard.
Yeah.
And so what are your plans for after summer? Do you have a job lined up?
So my plans right now, I just got booked for a role in this show. It's called First, and it's actually an original show. So this is the first time it's going to be getting put up. So I'm going to be traveling to Abilene. I'll have my rehearsals there, and then we're traveling to Arlington because it's actually at like this festival. So I'll be there for a couple of weeks performing out there. And when it comes to theater, when it comes to stage, like you just never know how successful something's gonna be. So it's like, especially with it being a original show and it being in such a high competitive area, because this festival, over like 400 people submit for this festival and only 8 people get picked. And so so it's a pretty big deal. So I'm fingers crossed that everything works out really well, it has great feedback, and we can end up going on tour with it. If not, I'll come back and just work probably corporate or something, and as I audition and do different stuff like that. And I obviously will continue my business doing different pop-ups and stuff like that, hoping to get my product into store very soon. So that's really exciting.
Wow, that's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about tell us how you've gone from nothing to getting it in a store, because that's like everyone's dream goal.
Yeah, so when it comes to that, it's just all about networking. And I feel like every opportunity is a way to network. If you walk into Walmart and you're talking to an associate, if you walk into like a hair store and you're just really nice and friendly and get to know them. So one of the perks is that I do have connections when it comes to like different beauty supplies and stuff like that, because I go in there so often to get like hair extensions or like nail glue or something like that. And so just talking to them and being nice to them and building a connection with the owner is definitely a great way to get in there. I always recommend start off small and then go bigger. Like I do want to be in bigger retail stores when it comes to like Walmart or Target or something like that. But I feel like starting off small to more like local shops, things that people in your area are going to be shopping at frequently. Kind of get your name out there and kind of builds up your credibility to move on to something bigger. So, yeah.
I have a question for you. So you talked about how you did nails and you've done hair. Is your company a service or a product?
So it's a product. I used to do service though. And so because I did service-based stuff, I kind of knew the market and I touched so many different hair types, and people always had like the same complaint, or they were using the same product and it was resulting in the same damage. And so from there, I was inspired to make my hair products.
Awesome. Cool.
What products do you have?
So I have 3 different products as of now. So one product is a flaxseed gel, and that is exactly like what's in the name. It's flax seeds that I boil into a water and it becomes like this like thick consistency. And it's great as like a leave-in treatment if you need a little bit of conditioning on your hair, or it's great if you have some curls or texture to your hair. It'll help define it without being like flaky or hard and crunchy like other gels would. And then I also have my rapid hair growth water. Now that one is an infused water-based product. It's infused with like rosemary and mint, cloves and cinnamon, and it smells really, really good. It's something about that mixture all together. It just smells amazing. So that one's actually my number 1 seller right now. And so you just spray that onto your scalp and you massage it in, and it helps promote hair growth. Also, I have an herbal infused hair oil. So that one's infused with a mixture of 3 different oils, and it also has herbs like rosemary and clove in there. But what I love about this oil, with the combination of the 3 oils that I use, it kind of mimics the natural sebum of our scalp, which helps your hair really penetrate in to get those nutrients that your hair is looking for. And that's great if you suffer from like dandruff or dry scalp, or if you're just looking to kind of strengthen your strands. If you find that your hair is shedding a lot, that product is really good. I recommend that to my clients as well.
So cool. So cool. How did you learn to make these things?
So, TikTok. TikTok actually, like, it utilized the internet. I utilize the internet for everything. That's how I learned how to do hair. That's how I learned how to do nails. That's literally everything that I know in this world, from either YouTube or TikTok. And so I was just doing a whole bunch of research because I was suffering really badly from like damaged hair. Because I used to bleach my hair a lot, and then my hair just kept breaking off. I could not keep my length. And so I was like, okay, well, what can I do to change this? So I started just looking at different alternatives that were more natural that I could make at home. And I started using it on my hair. So I used my products for about 1.5 years, actually, before I even created the product to sell, because it grew my hair tremendously in such a short amount of time at that. And so once that happened, people kept asking me like, well, what are you using in your hair? Can I have some? Can I have some? And, you know, it'll take a couple hours to make. So at that point, I was like, well, I might as well start selling this stuff if people are so interested.
So have you been selling to like your friends, or how are you trying to sort of like distribute so far? Because I'm guessing you've already made some for yourself and whatnot, but how do you sort of plan to get it to other people?
Yeah, so I did a lot of pop-ups when I was in Abilene. I really utilized the college campus to help sell my products. So I did a lot of pop-ups out there. I would do about 2 to 3 pop-ups a week if I got lucky. And so I would just utilize that. I would also take my social media accounts and I'll allow people to like DM me if they want to order, and I'll meet them like on campus or meet them in Abilene and give them their products. But now I'm working towards building a website so that way I can actually start shipping it out, especially as I move around and I get busy. I don't want to always have to do pop-ups to make my sales. I would like it to just be like, oh, online, place an order. It's coming to me in 3 days. So that's the next step.
So I'm curious, everyone always talks about people that do pop-ups, how much work it is and all the pre-work you have to do before you even actually get to the pop-up. Can you explain to us like the process you have to go through before, and then like what are the hardest things about doing a pop-up?
Yeah, so, oh my goodness, I'm getting flashbacks to my very first pop-up, and it was hectic. It was so hard. Part of the thing when it comes to pop-ups that some people really don't think about is you have to make it aesthetically pleasing in a way to where people are attracted to your table. So you actually not only have to think about creating these products, making sure you have enough to sell, make sure you don't have too many to where it's like, okay, now these products are going to waste, but you also don't have too little to where it's like you sell out super fast and now it's like you're missing out on more money. But you have to go to these stores and think, okay, what kind of fabric do I want to drape my table with that'll be pleasing to the eye? Like, I would have to go and into the Maker's Lab, which is like a lab that ACU has when I was in school. And I would just talk to them about like, hey, I need help making a logo. I need help. Can you make me a sign, like a name sign or something really cute, just so people can like understand my product and want to come over to my table because they're like, oh, it's so pretty. So that's a big thing. But then once you actually get to the pop-up, I think that was something that I wasn't prepared for. Is you get out of breath so fast talking to that many people. Like, seriously, you have to come up with some type of script in your head. And luckily I'm a theater major, so I can just do that. But it can be hard and challenging constantly having to repeat the same spiel every single time to hundreds of people, and trying to make sure you hit all the key points while still keeping their attention and like allowing them to really sell it. You're really trying to sell the product to them. That was something I really was not expecting, was just like how tired I am after a pop-up. Like, I'm like, where's the water? I need to lay down. Like, I want to go on vocal rest for 3 days. Like, I'm so tired of talking. So yeah, that was something I wasn't prepared for, but it gets easier as you continue to do it. Because like I said, you kind of get a script in your head and start remembering some of the things to say and what's effective.
And so what were some of those things that like were really effective when you were talking to people? Are there any like tips or tricks that you have?
Yeah, so one of the things is, you really want to personalize it to the person that you're talking to because you're trying to sell the product. And so just asking them, hey, like, what are some of your hair struggles? What are some things that you're experiencing? And kind of trying to relate to them, like, oh, is your hair like breaking off a lot? What are you using? Yeah, I heard about that product before, and I've had people complain about the same thing. This is what I use, actually, this product right here, which still happens to be mine, to help reverse that. Also, another thing that I found that's really effective is providing them with something visual. So for me, like I said, I used my products for about 1.5 years before I started selling them. So I actually had like a little slideshow of before and after pictures of my hair, because they can see the product in front of you and they're like, okay, like obviously like it smells good, it looks good, but to have a picture of how it actually works, like what it looks like and how it actually grows your hair, what's the time like, that was very, very effective. And I wasn't really expecting to be as effective, but it was. And they loved seeing the fact that, hey, this actually works and you actually use this stuff.
That's awesome. Because, I mean, doing pop-ups has to be, like you said, really exhausting because you're talking to hundreds of potential customers and most of them probably don't actually like get right? Like most of them are kind of like they'll come talk to you, but then you have to deal with the not the pain, but like being turned away from. Like people, they're just walking around, right? I know that's something I've dealt with. I went to a big convention for my business earlier in February, and like out of the hundreds of people that stopped by, only like 10 or 15 actually bought something. Like, and that was definitely a mindset change. Yeah. Is that something you found and something you've had to deal with?
Yeah, like I definitely relate to you. Like it's so frustrating when, people come up to your table, you give the whole spiel, you're really trying to sell it, and then they hit you with like some type of excuse like, oh man, I forgot my wallet, or oh I would, but I don't need any hair products right now. Or I even had one girl literally and this is like probably one of my last pop-ups that I did before I ended up moving back to Houston, but she came to my table. I give her a spool. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I love stuff so much, but I'm not gonna buy anything. I actually didn't bring any money with me, so I'm. But thank you so much for talking to me." Went to the table right next to me, directly next to me. I mean, like, and she's talking to that, like, "Oh yeah, let me get this. Let me get this." She's like swiping her card and stuff, and I'm literally like, here's me, here's the guy, and I'm like, you didn't have to tell me that. And I think that's probably one of the most frustrating but also comical thing when it comes to doing pop-ups and selling products is hearing different people's excuses of why they can't buy your product, or, oops, it just caught me on a bad day or something, and then kind of seeing them like still out shopping about. And so it's like that awkward little like, we're just not going to mention that, but you lied to me. You lied. You didn't have to lie, but you did. So yeah.
That's the weird thing about a pop-up, because your like tables are right next to each other. It's not like a shopping mall where it's like, oh, you could walk to the other end of the mall and go to like American Eagle and not buy anything from Dillard's, and you would never know.
Yeah, it's so awkward too. Like, especially when they're like right next to you buying something, because it's just that awkward energy of like, we don't want to make eye contact with each other now. you just didn't shop. Like, you told me you didn't have any money, and I'm watching you pull out money. Like, kind of awkward.
Maybe a buy now, pay later program would like help them actually buy products and sort of get out of their own head.
Yeah. I have it set up to where when I do my pop-ups, I take all form of payments. I take Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, and I have a tap to pay, so people can swipe their card or they can just tap it on my phone. So I try to have everything pretty accessible, so that way, regardless if you forgot your card but you have mobile cash or whatever the case may be, that you still have an option to shop with me in whatever payment works for you. So that's been pretty convenient, I found, and they love the tap to pay. As somebody that uses tap to pay all the time, that's probably one of my biggest things of like, if you can get it, definitely do it. I use Square. If you can set it up for that tap to pay on your Square, you're set, because everybody has their phone. Like, click, click, tap, done.
It's so funny you say that. I've actually never set up my Apple Wallet or like anything. I know I'm cool because I bring my wallet everywhere. Ever since I started driving, it's like my parents drilled into me, okay, you got to make sure you have your wallet. You can't leave it anywhere with your keys too, right? And so I just have my card in my wallet, and it's just out of habit. Like, even going to the Bean at ACU, like, I never set up the stuff on my phone to tap. I know, and when I don't have an Apple Watch either. So I would just every single time take out my card, swipe it.
You have to save so much money. I'm telling you, when they have to pay, it has me spend money as if it's an app or something. Like, I'm constantly like, click, click. Even if I order like my Wingstop, I love Wingstop. They have it set up to where I can just pay with my Apple Pay like online as I'm placing the order. So I'm still clicking, and I'll just pay it that way. I type in my card information. I don't do any of that. So honestly, you're onto something. Save your money.
I guess I'm, like you said, I'm saving myself.
Yeah, they are, for sure.
Have you guys seen how DoorDash, you can now finance your DoorDash orders? They partnered with, what's the company called? Like, oh yeah, Klarna.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you can like pay for your like Chipotle burrito and your like McDonald's in like 4 payments of $4.
Wow, I did not know that.
As if having a credit card wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's kind of sad. Yeah.
Wow. So, obviously you just graduated. But like we said, we're still counting you as a college student. And one of the big things that we try and focus on for our audience is helping them understand the experience of being a college entrepreneur. And maybe we like our guests to maybe give a couple tips and tricks on how to get through all the busy days of classes and work and balancing it all. So what was your experience while in college running this business? And do you have any tips for people to manage their time better?
Honestly, I experienced major burnout. I cannot lie. I had a lot of burnout trying to balance the two. But I think the reason why I experienced so much burnout is because, as a student, we just want to lay in bed sometimes and like bed rot and just scroll and not have to think about the next thing, like, or just chill in between classes. You'd rather just like relax, go get some food. But my biggest tip and what I found to be the most effective for me when it came to managing my time is use those gap periods that you have to get things done. So if you have 30 minutes between a class or an hour or whatever time you have, instead of like going back to your dorm or your apartment or something, or finding a place to like chill and relax, use that momentum to keep going throughout the day. Like, shoot an email somewhere, go to the maker's lab, like I mentioned earlier, print out some labels or something, or just constantly, or think about what's the next steps of something I can get done with this amount of time that I have. That's the biggest thing I will say, because at the end of the day, that will save so much time. So that way, when you do go to relax and chill and it's time for bed, you can not feel anxious. When you're procrastinating something, you start getting really anxious as you're trying to like sleep at night, but you can't bring yourself to like do it, but you're like thinking about it the entire time. Yeah, save yourself that trouble and just go ahead and get it done earlier in the day and between your break. Also, another thing that I will say, as a student and being an entrepreneur, is really utilize the people around you. Like, I had a lot of help when it came to late nights, having to package orders and, getting things together or making products, whatever the case may be. Really utilize your friends and your family and the people that you have with you, because you're at a stage right now where, some of them are willing to do it for free. They're just spending time with you. They don't see it as something as serious as you do. They just see it as something like, hey, like, we're just hanging out. I'm just helping Courtney pack some orders right now. It's really nothing. Or I'm helping her put some stickers on a bottle. Like, it's things like that is very helpful to have while you're in school and trying to manage your time. I think those are like the biggest things that really got me through balancing school and being an entrepreneur.
Have you thought about bringing on a co-founder, someone like more permanently to help you?
Yes, I have. It just really like worries me a little bit, because obviously having somebody else in that capacity of having ownership can, sometimes be a battle if you guys aren't on the same page on certain stuff. And, being the CEO of my company, it's like, if a decision needs to be made, I could just do it. I could make it right now because I don't have to consult anybody else. But it definitely would help, because there are certain areas that I definitely lack in that I'm like, I could use support behind this or more insight on this. And so that's definitely something that I think that will happen. It's inevitable. I just want to make sure that I am pretty stern on what products I'm really like stuck on. I'm like, okay, this is for sure what I'm keeping around. This is what I'm not keeping around. Making sure it's authentic, which is another really important thing when it comes to my brand, because there is no chemicals in my products, because it's all natural, because they are organic. Every single ingredient that is in there has organic by it, because it is organic. It's 100%. So I think making sure that whoever I bring on my team, whether that's another co-founder or that's a manufacturer or whatever the case may be, to keep that authentic product clean, simple. That's kind of my motto for my brand.
You want to find a co-founder that shares your values.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a great alternative to finding a co-founder is just having a great mentor or great mentors, because the great thing about mentors is that they can give you like the support and the advice and sort of the help a co-founder might bring without the ownership of the company. So it would still all be in your hands. Do you have any mentors or any professors or anyone who have sort of helped you along the way?
Yes. Yeah. I have a wonderful, wonderful mentor. She's actually the creator and founder of this brand called Baby Tress, and they are also a hair product company. And she's helped me a lot through all of this, when it comes to pop-ups, when it comes to creating my products, when it comes to labels, when it comes to literally everything. She talks to me for free, so that's also a plus. Not have to spend money to utilize her time. But that has helped me so much. Also, Tatum. Also, a great person to utilize. I remember with numbers, somebody that works at ACU, which is the college that I went to. I didn't know much about numbers at all, and I was struggling so badly, kind of trying to figure out how much it took to create like one batch. Because obviously, when I buy stuff in bulk. So trying to break that down to, okay, how much product can this bulk set get me? How much is that? And just getting down to the nitty-gritty, it was something that was literally destroying my brain. So she helped me so much when it comes to Google spreadsheets, numbers, version, all that stuff. So definitely, for sure, had some great help.
So it sounds to me like you really enjoy the product aspect of it. Like, you know everything about all your products and the brand, right? Like I feel like you would be great at marketing and the perfect pop-up person to go talk to, right? Because you match everyone's energy and know everything and can explain it to your customers. So if you're looking for a potential co-founder, is that someone who's more analytical, knows the numbers like you're mentioning?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely need somebody's help when it comes to like the background stuff. When it comes to like running like social media, I'm not the best at that, but I can pose, I can get some pictures, I can, do that type of stuff. But I suck at posting on my own social media account. So I'm like trying to do that for a company is something that's like a little bit harder for me. Also, like you said, the numbers, stuff like that, of keeping the backside of the website, the analytics, all that type of stuff will be a big, big, big help for me, for sure, when it comes to looking for a co-founder.
I have a thought that, Daniel, I've been meaning to talk to you about. I feel like social media is extremely oversaturated. Like, I feel like everyone, I know when we were doing our springboard pitches, everyone was like, oh, we're going to use social media to help promote our business. I don't know, though, because like when I'm on my phone and on Instagram, like the only things I'm really watching are like funny golf things or viola people that I know. Like, I never see a brand, and like I don't think I've ever bought anything off Instagram. Maybe that's just a me thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important. I don't think that everybody. I think that's the biggest, because you have to know your audience. Have to know who your target is. And so knowing my target audience and my customers, I know a lot of them will be on social media sites and they want to see pictures. They want to see this stuff. It's more, my clientele is more like female based. So as somebody that constantly shops on like TikTok shop and Instagram, stuff like that. So I'm always seeing different ads. That's a big thing. But I also understand the power of social media. And obviously not everything you post is going to be like this big viral post and get a whole bunch of likes. But all it takes is that one post to go viral or to be sometimes even controversial. Like some people are like, I hate it. Or some people are like, I love it. That will get your sales going up. And actually something that I thought about, I have yet to do it, but I will, I feel like, is thinking of creative ways to post on your social media. So for me, being that my products are clean ingredients, things that you can get from your kitchen, I thought it would be a great marketing idea to basically eat the products. And I know it sounds weird, it sounds scary, but it's like, I want to show people that everything I put in here is clean, natural, organic. If your child was to get into this, they'll be perfectly fine. There's nothing toxic going in your body. Basically, like doing a skit of like, if you can't even eat your hair products, why are you putting it on your scalp? I thought it was like funny, something. I don't know yet, but I definitely thought it was a good idea, just as a way of promo.
I think that's a great idea.
That's really smart, actually. Did people like it? Did it kind of pop off?
So I haven't done it yet. But I've been talking about it for a while, and every time somebody's like, what? Like, that's so weird. It's like it's reactions like those that is what you're looking for, because that will get more engagement. That'll get people to share your post. That'll get people to save your post. That'll get people to be like, what is in these products? Let me go to her website. And I'm like, oh, like, wait, this is actually like, stuff that's like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's weird. But it's like, it'll get people's mind going, and they'll be like, what is she eating? Like, why is she eating her hair products? So then they'll be more interested in what you're talking about.
No, one thing that I'm doing a summer course right now, and one of the things we're focusing on the course is advertising. And we were just all discussing advertising, and I was like, well, the things for me that make it pop are it being different than everything else. And so what you were just describing is so different than many other things that you're going to see. You're not going to see most hair products advertising that you could eat them or that they're safe to eat if they were accidentally eaten.
Yeah.
But I would say that's an interesting angle. Whether or not it actually works out, I mean, I don't know, but that would be really cool if you could pull that off.
Right. I don't want to tell people eat my hair products. That's not what I'm saying now.
They're not a tasty snack.
It is safe.
But the great thing about social media is that it's free and it's completely organic. And so the great thing, the point of it is not to necessarily make a sale, but to just increase awareness, to get people to your website.
Yeah.
Gone are the days of having to buy billboards or focus on TV or pay for radio ads or posters, whatever. You know, social media is a free, it's free advertising, and it can, everyone's on it. There's like billions of people. And so at least right now in, 2025, that's where the attention is. But yeah, it can be oversaturated. That's where you kind of have to be strategic on where you post, sort of who you're trying to target. But that's super cool, Courtney.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a lot, like, because everybody's on social media nowadays. And so that's why I say, like, not everything needs to be a post or not to be sold on TikTok or stuff like that. It just has to be stuff that's like, I would say if it's not as accessible, if that makes sense. So I know that I can't just go into Walmart and get my hair products. I can't just go and find something that's like clean and natural and organic or all this. Like there's not going to be that in the store. And so being in a way that is accessible to people is pretty nice. And it works out for me because I'm always shopping online. Like I cannot seem, goes back into that Apple Pay. I cannot seem to leave my card alone. Like seriously. So it's like, I think of it in that way of like, okay, I know if I really, really want something and I find it on TikTok or if I find it on Instagram, it's like, oh my gosh, I just hit the jackpot. So that's kind of how I think about it. I haven't done it yet. I should say that. I mean, I post online here and there, but like as far as selling products online, I haven't done that yet. I mostly just use my social media accounts now to let people know, hey, I'm having a pop-up here. It's going to be at this time, this location, like y'all come out, or just to give like a thank you to my shoppers of like, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for selling me out, keeping them updated in that way. So
I just noticed something. I just noticed that you, Courtney, and you, Turner, have completely different like consumer buying habits, completely different. And so that goes back to what we were just talking about on like focusing on really who you're selling to. So you're trying to sell to people who are like you, who buy on TikTok Shop, who have Apple Pay, who are obsessed with Apple Pay. And then there's like other businesses that focus on people like Turner, who don't have Apple Pay, who aren't probably going to buy stuff on TikTok Shop. I just thought that was interesting. You guys are completely different.
Yeah.
Well, and what's awesome is there's so many businesses and companies out there doing things like Courtney that like serve everybody, right? I don't know. I think that's so cool. Just even driving down Little Bernie, Texas, outside of San Antonio, and seeing how many businesses there are, and it's like, wow, that is ridiculous and crazy that we can have that in America. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Courtney, you've been doing lots of pop-ups. Is that how you want to go on in the future? Or do you want to have an event-based business?
No.
So what are your plans?
I don't want to keep doing pop-ups. I love pop-ups, don't get me wrong. I love meeting people. It's also another great way to network. But I want to be able to have a business where I can operate it from anywhere, if that makes sense. So I know, like, my manufacturer, I know who's shipping my product, and I can trust and know if I was to go on a vacation for a month in Hawaii, that everything's going to run smoothly. So that's kind of my goal of where I want it to be at, is I kind of want to shift it to more online, like having my website up. and having people be able to shop that way, having employees that can run my marketing stuff and posting for me, and letting the customers know if we're sold out, if there's no more, or if we just restocked, and kind of operating in that way, just so I can do it from anywhere and I don't have to actually be in a set location all the time.
Well, what I'm curious about, and I'm generally curious about, is how startups are approaching the online sphere. What program are you planning on using, or software for your business?
So right now I've been using Square, and I actually really love Square. And it's okay because I hear so many like mixed reviews on it. Like some people hate it, some people love it. But it has, considering the fact that I'm not tech savvy at all, like I'm not at all. So it has just been so easy to use. Like it'll keep my inventory count for me. It'll let me report if there's like theft involved, if I'm missing a certain product, and it's like, okay, somebody stole it from me, which actually did happen on my very first day of pop-ups. Somebody stole 2 products from me, but we'll get into that. But yeah, it has just been really, really easy to track, and it also allows you to build your website on there as well. So not only are you able to like cash payments on there, but you can then on the same app click and it'll take you over to your website and you can edit and do all that stuff. So that's really good. I also utilize another software before, back of I am so blessed in a way to have connections of different people that do like computer stuff and they know how to build websites, and it literally takes them 5 minutes versus me, it'll take me 3 weeks. So it's like I just kind of do what I can. So Square is what I can do. And then if I want something a little bit more elite, I'll give it to the people that studied this. They went to school for it, and that's what they're here for. So,
I mean, I use Squarespace for my business, and it's super easy. I mean, drag and drop is awesome.
what is drag and drop?
So, like when you're in Squarespace, when you can just kind of like pick on the side and say, "Oh, I want a button here." You click and then just drag it over, and it goes in. You don't have to actually code anything. That's what drag and drop is.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that.
It's more of a technical term.
Yeah. Yeah, I know AI is a really big thing. I had a friend because when I first started, I was like, hey, can you help me build this website? And he literally just asked me just a series of questions, typed it into his like AI like thing, and it made a full-blown website. Clickable links, everything, pictures, icons. It took him literally 2 minutes. And I'm like, AI is getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. It's taking jobs. It is like, I would definitely just utilize that. Like you wouldn't even have to pay somebody. You would just go in and say, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want my website to look like. Put these pictures in there and it's done. So, yeah.
Courtney, has faith played a role in your business or how you've gone about things like that?
Yes, absolutely. I think the faith is God just shows up in everything in every way. And so my business started, even though I always wanted to start this, it was just something that I like talked about and I never really put much thought into. But I was using these products and I was like, wow, this would be really cool if I started this business. And so the reason I was able to make this come true, the Lord was able to allow this to be a reality, is because of Springboard. ACU, which is the college I went to, had a Springboard competition for businesses where they basically will give you money. They'll fund your business and there's no strings attached. You don't have to like give them a certain percentage or anything like that. Like, this is you, this is your business. You sell it, you keep all the profit, be responsible, And so I submitted mine for a class. It wasn't even like a real life, like, oh, I'm actually submitting this because I want to participate. Like, no, I had a business class. They were like, you have to do this for a grade. It's part of your final. What? And so I submitted it, but it was like way past the deadline. Like, it had already closed everything. So I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, okay, cool. Way past the deadline. They've announced the winners already and everything. Okay, cool. I'm just relaxing, I'm chilling. And all of a sudden I get an email that said $5,000 prize as the subject. And I'm like, $5,000? Quick. So, and it was an email from the professor and somebody who was helping run the springboard competition. And they sent me an email basically telling me like, hey, we had somebody that was on the springboard, but they can't do it anymore. Would you like to participate in springboard? Would you like to be a part of this? And I was like, are you kidding me? Me? Are you kidding? Mind you, this is something like I've always talked about, but I never really like thought it was going to happen in this time, in this moment. And so it was just really, it was like a big, like, praise you, Lord moment, because you just never know who you're talking to. You never know who God places in your life to help you along the way, along the journey. And so that's been a really big thing. And then even for my very first pop-up, despite, somebody stealing from me, which was crazy, I sold out. My very first time making these products, selling these products, I completely sold out at that event. And it was something that was just like, wow, like God just shows me every single time I don't need to worry. I don't have to get so caught up in my head and focus on all these different aspects that are like, just sit back, relax. You are my child. I have you. So definitely, for sure, faith is a big part of my business.
That's awesome. Okay, you've teased this stealing story a couple times.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. What happened?
It's not as like exciting, but it was the very first pop-up I had, and I was getting a lot of traction around my table. And so I'm just selling it to people. I'm bagging stuff up. I'm there by myself, mind you. I hate doing pop-ups by myself because it gets really hectic. I love to have at least one other person with me, but I learned from that day. So I am talking to people, giving them the spiel. I'm also checking people out. I'm also bagging people's stuff. I'm giving on my Instagram. I'm doing all this stuff. And at the end of my pop-up, once I finally like sold everything and I'm so excited, I go to check on my Square because I was like, okay, well, let me look at my inventory so I can see how much I actually sold. And it was saying I had 2 more products. And I was like, no, I don't have 2 more products. And I looked everywhere, possibly could have dropped or something. And no, 2 of my products just went poof, missing from the table. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's so discouraging, especially as an entrepreneur, when you put in your own work, your own sweat, blood, and tears into something, and then somebody feels like they could just like grab it and walk off. So that was pretty frustrating for me, but I haven't experienced that again. Besides my sisters coming in and stealing from me, but those are my sisters, so I don't really count them as theft. I just write it off. But yeah, so that happened at the very first time of me going to sell my products. And I wasn't expecting it, but I'm glad I learned kind of early on, you do have to keep your head on a swivel, even though you are selling to your friends or selling to people in the community and these people, and you're like, oh, I don't have to think anything of it. It's like, no, you still have to keep your head swift, make sure you're looking around. And that's why I definitely recommend, if you can, have 2 or more people at your pop-ups to be looking out there with you. Get a bodyguard, get security if you can.
This is a weird way of looking at it, but that's actually a huge form of flattery. The fact that your product is so good that they would go out of their way. It's so valuable. They would go out of their way to steal it. Right. I mean, if it was bad, they wouldn't take it. They would walk away.
You are
right?
So right. Like, I'm really flattered. Like, they loved it so much.
Yeah.
So, Courtney, if you had to go back to day one and start this all over again, what is something you wish someone had told you before you started?
What I wish somebody would have told me: don't procrastinate. Literally not procrastinate, because I waited and waited and waited until the last second. Another thing that I wish somebody would have told me, and my biggest advice for anybody that's looking to start something: if you can buy in bulk, do that. Now, I will say it does depend upon what you're using, but especially for something that was product-based like mine, buying in bulk is something that saves you so much money in the long run. I went from it taking like two, three, like between $2 to $5 to make a product to like now it being like 90 cents just because I switched to buying in bulk. Yeah. So I'll definitely say if you can do that, utilize that, even if it's not like too much. Like when I buy my containers, when I buy like my organic herbs and stuff like that, I'll typically buy them by the gallon or buy them by the pound, or I'll buy my pieces in sets of like, you know, like 40 or 100, something that's like, okay, I can utilize and sell these. So that way you can really test and see what they like, what they don't like. Also, another thing I wish somebody would have told me is definitely, especially when it comes to product based, ask your customers how much product do they use on their hair. Like, you don't want to go out and buy something that's like this size, like something super, super small, when they're using something that's like this size, that's like a little bit more, like it has more width, and so it just helps to kind of get that feedback from them, like, hey, do you want me to make this bigger? Do you want me to make this smaller? Like, do you want a squeeze tube versus like a gel container? Getting that feedback would have been something that could have helped me a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. Well, it's been so great talking to you, Courtney. Do we have any last notes that we want to make before we wrap up?
Well, for guys or girls who want to use some of Courtney's hair products, where can we go to find them?
So you can find me on Instagram at Love My Scalp _. It's all one word, and feel free to shoot me a DM and let me know, or hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time you guys are seeing this and you go up to my Instagram, you can click a link in my bio to a website that'll be up and running, and we can get that stuff shipped off to you. But yeah, also you can find me at your local pop-up shops.
Awesome. Well, Courtney will link everything in the bio, of course, but thank you very much for coming on. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me, guys. I had so much fun talking to you.
Yeah, everyone listening, go check her out. Courtney String, Love My Scalp. Go to her Instagram, check it out, buy her stuff, connect with her, all of that. Do you have LinkedIn, Courtney?
I do. I'm pretty sure it's my
Find her on
name.
LinkedIn too. Okay, cool. Yeah, Courtney String, LinkedIn. Find her, Love My Scalp, all that. Check her out. And yeah, thanks for watching, listening. It's been awesome.